Other people's national college entrance examination is to do exercises. And my national college entrance examination is to catch ghosts. People who pass level A ghost domain will be guaranteed admission to the top 100 universities. People who pass level B ghost domain can enter the top 200 universities. But as the person ranked last in the whole school, Luis is lucky to even get into college. Therefore, the teacher warned him to definitely choose level D ghost domain. However, on the day of the exam. Luis directly chose the level A ghost domain. This made the teacher furious. With your second to last level of theoretical knowledge and talent, you are heading down a dead-end path. But what she doesn't know is, Luis acquired the defense breaking system early in Reborn. As long as a person or ghost has their defense broken, he can gain defense breaking points, so that he can continually increase the upper limit of the contracted ghost. Just because in this world where ghost tamers are revered, the upper limit for the number of contracted ghosts for ordinary people is 2. Having an upper limit of 3 is considered to be a genius. For Luis, as long as he has enough defense breaking points, that means he can contract with billions of ghosts. To celebrate his upcoming journey to the peak, Luis deliberately played a game before choosing to enter the ghost domain. He caught the teacher on the stage by surprise. He's about to enter the ghost domain. You are still in the mood to play games. Let me ask you, what should you do when you encounter a burnt ghost? Luis slowly stood up from his seat. Since this ghost is so popular, of course, we should take it to TT to shoot some edgy videos. This unserious answer made the whole class burst into laughter. The teacher, suppressing his anger, asked again, "What if you encounter the red-dressed ghost?" Luis became interested after hearing that. Then I have to see how attractive she is. If possible, I will ask her out for a meal and a movie. His 2 actions made the teacher very angry on the spot. Therefore, Luis also received a newbie gift pack. He obtained the defense-breaking contract technique. He can not only break the Specter defense up to 99% and forcefully contract, but also gave him 2 contract upper limits. This is exactly the trump card that Luis dares to choose level A ghost domain. Then he disappeared in the surprised eyes of the whole class. Luis was soon transported to the exam location. 5 students were also transported here together. At this moment, a paper man appeared in front of everyone. "I am your examination teacher, and the place you are in now is Songwon City People's Hospital." When this was said, everyone was instantly shocked. Isn't this the city that was invaded by Specter? It is said that several elite ghost tamer teams have fallen here. How dare you use it as an exam site? Paperman snapped his fingers to reassure us. The hospital has been divided into sections by the Security Bureau using formations, so the specters from outside cannot enter. Paperman grinned mysteriously as he said this. The task of the exam is very simple. You just need to survive a day here in contract with a Specter to pass. Paperman then gave each person a teleportation talisman to use when facing deadly danger. You can tear off the talisman to return to school. One more thing. If someone defeats or contracts an evil spirit level Specter, they can earn the MVP title. His reward is a blue corpse ghost orb worth 100,000. Accompanied by the sound of cackling from Paperman, the exam officially begins. However, everyone looks at each other in confusion, and no one shows any intention of being the first to enter the hospital. At this moment, Luis takes the lead. "I'll go first. There might be some pretty nurses inside," he says. Seeing this, the remaining 5 students quickly follow suit. They do not want Luis to snatch up any good contracts from the Specter ahead. However, when Luis reaches a corner, his body suddenly trembles like a sieve, causing a panic reaction that leaves the other students stunned. There are over 50 ghosts here. Run quickly. This directly scared everyone so much that they almost wet themselves. They all rushed out of the hospital one after another. Even though they were outside the gate, a few people were still in shock. Has that guy named Luis come out? Zion with glasses smirked twice. Who told him he had to be the first one to go in? Serves him right to be torn apart alive. Just then, there was a burst of mocking laughter from inside the hospital. They saw Luis teasingly looking down at them from the second floor. The introduction of Ghost Domain said that the haunted hospital only has less than 20 ghosts. I casually said 50, and you all believed it. As soon as he said this, everyone instantly felt more disgusted than if they had eaten flies' excrement. Ping. Congratulations to the host for earning 100 defense breaking points. Shortly after, Luis coolly left in front of everyone. Then he continued to walk towards the depths of the hospital. As Luis passed by the ophthalmology department, the system suddenly sent a prompt. Detected half of a medium vengeful ghost. Luis immediately walked excitedly to the doorway. Oh, there's a broken ghost! At this moment, Zion's voice came from behind him. Stop right there. Is this where a loser like you should be? Do you know who the beautiful lady next to me is? At this moment, the top talent of our school, Lily, whose contract upper limit has awakened to 3. It's 6 times yours. Luis laughed and stepped aside after hearing this. Since you want to go in first, please go ahead. As Zion passed by Luis, he even spat and said, You loser, kid lost. Got it? The next moment, Lily noticed something hanging on the ceiling fan. When they saw clearly, fear was written all over their faces. However, just as they were about to run away, the 3 of them were suddenly paralyzed in place. Seeing this, Luis swallowed nervously. Something was definitely off. Luckily, he let those 3 idiots go in first. Otherwise, it could have been himself in trouble. Subsequently, Luis hid outside, observing the 3 individuals. They wouldn't just die like that, would they? Before long, Lily staggered out of the ophthalmology department, and Luis quickly went up to inquire. What happened? What did you encounter? Lily spat out blood in response. There was a blood-red eye hanging on the ceiling fan. That ghost can trap people in illusions. If I hadn't bitten off my tongue, I probably wouldn't have been able to come out. Several minutes later, Zion and the yellow-haired man also crawled out slowly. It's all your fault, leading us to such a dangerous place. They blamed Luis. His face darkened. That's your own doing. None of my business, Luis retorted. Lily from the other side replied irritably. Luckily we went in first. If it were someone like you, an idiot, you'd probably be trapped in the illusion and dead by now. You're wrong. I'm not stupid enough to be the first one to go in. Luis mocked before entering the ophthalmology department. The 3 people who stayed put glared angrily. We've been played by this brat. Congratulations to the host for gaining 30 defense breaking points. Upon entering, Luis did not look up at the ceiling fan, but immediately found the switch. With a whooshing sound, the ceiling fan started spinning rapidly. Soon, the blood-eyed ghost above his head began to angrily roar. You brat! Turn off the ceiling fan for me now! Ding! Congratulations to the host for earning 20 defense breaking points. Luis, who had closed his eyes tightly, was overjoyed by this. It worked. This ghost has been defense broken. 10 minutes passed like this. The system detected that the blood-eyed ghost's defense breaking reached 88%. Only 11% away from directly contracting him. Luis tried to inquire. Let's make a deal. I'll turn off the ceiling fan, and you become my contracted ghost. The blood-eyed ghost was so angry and cursed loudly. You dared to threaten me, you little brat. Do you know who I am? Upon hearing this, Luis also didn't respond anymore. He thought to himself, if you don't agree, we'll just stall for time. Half an hour passed. Blood-eyed Ghost couldn't bear it anymore. Turn off the ceiling fan first, he said. Luis didn't hesitate and did it right away. Is it better now? The wind was drying out my eyes, he said. Get me the eye drops from the cabinet first. Once I use them, I'll sign with you. Luis agreed and opened the cabinet. But his eyes fell on a bottle of glue. So he quietly tore off the label, then casually threw the bottle towards the direction of the ceiling fan. Blood-eyed Ghost caught the eye drops, clearly excited. It directly couldn't wait to drop 2 drops into the eyes. Wait until I regain my strength. Watch how I deal with you. But the next second, Blood-Eyed Ghost was ready to kill Luis. My eyes won't open. Luis shrugged his shoulders, pretending not to know. Could it be that the eye drops have expired? At this point, the Blood-Eyed Ghost couldn't bear it anymore. You're trying to sneak attack. You can't handle it. You little trash. The system detected that the Blood-Eyed Ghost's defense breaking has reached 99%. The host can choose to forcefully sign the contract. Upon seeing this, Luis decisively expresses his consent to sign the contract. Following this, the system issues a prompt. Miss Blood-Eyed Ghost, are you willing to entrust your life to Mr. Luis? Blood-Eyed Ghost became even more angry upon hearing this. I am a man. I do not agree. Miss Blood-Eyed Ghost agrees. It's outlined in the contract. Blood-Eyed Ghost's mentality just went straight downhill. Wait. When did I agree? Contract signed and completed. Broken Ghost initiates fusion. The next second, Blood-Eyed Ghost transforms into a ghost energy and flies towards Luis's right eye. Accompanied by the system prompt, fusion is completed. Luis hurriedly walked to the mirror to observe it. Don't say anything. This heterochromia actually looks pretty cool. It has a feeling of Hatake Kakashi. Luis looked at himself in the mirror with some doubts. Will signing a contract with a ghost always result in this? The system then issued a prompt. For a ghost with a complete form, after signing the contract, you can directly summon it for battle. As for a broken ghost, it enhances attributes through fusion with the body. Later, Luis opened the panel of the Blood-Eyed Ghost and found that its loyalty was only at 3%. Luis puckered his lips. Your loyalty is a little low. Blood-Eyed Ghost sneered after hearing that. I have no loyalty towards you, because you forced me to contract. He just finished complaining. Blood-Eyed Ghost's loyalty has now decreased by 2%, leaving only 1%. This made Luis's heart tighten. He wants to see if activating skill will slightly increase loyalty. Host successfully exchanged Blood-Eyed Ghost's one skill. When the enemy makes direct eye contact with Blood-Eye, they can fall into the illusion of blood domain and continuously take damage. Blood-Eyed Ghost is a bit surprised by this. Not bad, kid. You activated my skill so quickly. Blood-Eyed Ghost's loyalty has increased by 9%, remaining 10%. Later, Luis walked out of the ophthalmology department. At this time, he, who was originally slightly nearsighted, can now surprisingly see distant things clearly. At this time, inside the hospital morgue, a ghoul was drooling as it hugged Lily's priceless feet. Before it could do anything, it was kicked away. Why won't these ghouls stop chasing us? Zion's eye orb shifted. If we lead the ghouls to the second floor, Luis, we'll be safe. Although the yellow-haired man beside us feels uneasy about this. But Lily in front of them said firmly, Let's go with this plan. He has a teleportation talisman and won't die. After saying that, the three of them ran towards the ophthalmology department. But they had just reached the second floor when they ran into Luis, who looked flustered as if he was about to go to the third floor. Were you chased by a dog? Lily glanced at him coldly. Without saying a word, she ran upstairs. However, behind her, Zion revealed a triumphant smile. Don't run, you're going to die, he said. Soon, several ghouls appeared around the corner, and all of them rushed towards Luis as if they had gone insane. Upon seeing this, he finally realized, they actually want to pass this disaster on to me. However, Luis stood still instead of running away. He could just as well find out how his new skill worked. The scene left the three people upstairs puzzled by why he didn't run away and instead walked towards the ghost. At this moment, 5 ghouls with wide-open mouths rushed towards him. And Luis seized the opportunity and widened his right eye. With the activation of the Dojutsu blood domain illusion, the 5 ghouls immediately stopped running and collapsed to the ground. Luis picked up a chainsaw from the ground. Skill effect is not bad. After saying that, he walked towards the several ghouls. The next second, blood and flesh scattered. All the ghouls' heads were sawed off by Luis. This scene surprised the 3 people upstairs. Quick, Look at his eyes, they are red. He contracted the despicable broken ghost from the ophthalmology department. Clearly, we discovered it first. Congratulations to the host for gaining 40 defense breaking points. The sudden prompt made Louis startled. Where did the points come from? When he looked up and saw the three people, he understood. Thanks to you for attracting the ghouls over. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to show off. Louis's expression turned fierce as he spoke. If I find out that you are the ones who harmed me, I will definitely not spare you. His words had just fallen when the faces of the three people instantly turned green. Although Louis only contracted a broken ghost, he was much stronger than those who had not yet contracted one. Shortly after, Louis walked towards the other departments on the third floor. Unfortunately, he did not find any good specters, but he did come across the remains of several deceased individuals. Suddenly, he spotted one of them still wearing a gold watch. This caught Louis's eye. Since you're all dead, would it be too much for me to spend this wealth on your behalf? However, as soon as he had plundered half the remains, Louis looked up and saw the finance office ahead. The hospital's finance office should have a lot of money. With that, he quickly found the safe. But as soon as he pried open the safe, he found it empty with only 2 coins inside. Mistake? The money from the finance office must have been taken by the security bureau. Louis shook his head in disappointment. Then he went to search the dead bodies for things. This made the examination teacher outside couldn't help but make sarcastic comments. Is this stinky kid here to take the exam or to pick up money? Louis quickly plundered a plastic bag of ill-gotten gains. At this moment, the system prompted that there was a superior vengeful ghost ahead in the operating room. Then he stopped in his tracks. Does he have to take off all his clothes for the surgery? There must be a few bills hidden in his clothes. So he squinted and looked into the operating room. There was a hot girl playing the guqin. This scene made Louis praise with admiration. She truly has an angelic face and a devilish figure. The blood-eyed ghost also echoed in agreement. Do you feel the same? Like-minded people. Blood-eyed ghost's loyalty has increased by 5% and is now at 15%. Louis suddenly spurted out a mouthful of blood. What's going on with this loyalty increase? The old rogue recognized each other. Louis quickly recovered to normal. How come this busted ghost looks so harmless? Is she powerful? The blood-eyed ghost had to explain. You see that the guqin is engraved with Sanskrit characters. I guess it should be some kind of deadly melody. Just as Louis was about to use dojutsu to take the initiative, the blood-eyed ghost reminded him that it wouldn't work. She is blind. She totally countered me, Louis confirmed cautiously. The wave of the blood-eyed ghost was completely useless. However, soon he had an idea. He could only forcefully contract her with defense breaking. Later, Louis arrived at the neighboring pharmacy. I advise you not to court death. Provoking her with your current strength will undoubtedly lead to death. Although the blood-eyed ghost kindly reminded him, Louis still picked up alcohol and sprayed a few times. Courageous people live to the fullest. Timid people starve to death. Aren't you tempted by such a powerful female ghost? After that, he once again arrived at the door of the operating room and pushed it open, walking in. The alert busted ghost called out, "Who's there?" when she heard the sound. At the same time, she abruptly flicked the string with both hands. The urgent sound of the violin instantly pierced Louis's eardrums. He knelt down directly with a thud. I am a doctor. I came to perform surgery on you. As soon as this was said, Busted Ghost immediately stopped playing the zither. Is that true? Louis reluctantly stood up and reached out his hand. I really am a doctor. Don't believe me? Smell it. The familiar smell of alcohol temporarily calmed Busted Ghost down. Where have all you doctors gone? Busted Ghost became somewhat angry as she spoke. Can surgery be performed now? Louis imitated the doctor's tone and said, Sure. Now, please lie down on the operation table. He then picked up a syringe, indicating that he would administer anesthesia first. However, when he looked down, a deep cleavage appeared before his eyes. Luis swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Then he raised the syringe. He directly and forcefully pierced the syringe into the female ghost's arm. "Does it hurt?" Busted Ghost pretended to be calm and said it doesn't hurt. However, Luis pulled out the needle. "I'm sorry. I didn't hit the vein," he said before he inserted the needle back into the previous puncture site. "What's going on? Why did your vein move? It caused me to miss again." After that, he inserted another 27 needles. The Busted Ghost angrily grabbed Luis's hand. "Are you really a doctor? Congratulations, host, on winning 40 defense breaking points." The system detected that Busted Ghost's defense breaking has reached 50%. You are still 49% away from directly signing the contract. Luis innocently expresses his sincere apologies. "Do you believe that I will definitely score next time?" Just then, the situation in the operating room stunned the people outside. Is he performing surgery on a ghost? It seems like it. This guy is really bold. At the same time, Luis's procedure is also being observed by the examination teacher. Luis compared to other students. He is really bold. At this moment, Busted Ghost let go of Luis's hand. She impatiently said, "Just start the surgery directly." Luis responded smoothly, "All right then. Are you going to have a sex reassignment surgery or breast augmentation? I have gigantomastia and need to have some removed." After listening, Luis immediately pulled out the chainsaw and lamented, "What a pity, it's so beautiful. How much do you need to have removed?" "Cut off half." Busted Ghost responded impatiently. But Luis deliberately gestured with the chainsaw a few times. "So, do you want to cut off the left side or the right side?" Busted Ghost's chest was heaving with anger. "Are you crazy? Which family undergoes surgery to remove only one side? It must be cut evenly. Cut both sides." Congratulations to host for receiving 40 defense breaking point. The level of defense breaking has reached 60%. Luis's spirits lifted. It seems to be effective. So he waved the chainsaw near the ghost's ear. "Are you going to cut the top or the bottom? Are you going to cut the front or the back?" Congratulations to host for obtaining 40 defense breaking point. The degree of defense breaking has reached 70%. This effect has boosted Luis's morale. He directly started asking where it hurts, kicking off the wordplay to dodge. "Do you want minimally invasive or full of scars? 50% is a bit hard to control. How about I just remove 100% directly?" At this point, Busted Ghost couldn't hold back any longer. She directly shouted angrily that you were looking for death. The next second, the guillotine appeared in her hands. At the same time, the system popped up a prompt. "Busted Ghost's defense breaking has reached 99%. Host can choose to forcibly sign a contract." Seeing this, Luis chuckled. "Sister, don't get too excited yet. We haven't finished talking." However, Busted Ghost had already placed her hand on the guillotine. "No need. Right now, I just want you dead." At that moment, a voice suddenly echoed in her mind. "Miss Busted Ghost, would you be willing to become Mr. Luis's contracted ghost, regardless of poverty or wealth? Are you willing to accompany him forever?" Busted Ghost was so angry that she almost exploded. "You really have some beautiful thoughts." As she spoke, she gently caressed the guillotine, preparing to play. Miss Busted Ghost agreed. Currently in the process of signing the contract. This confuses Busted Ghost directly. Didn't I agree in the first place? As the system prompts the completion of signing. Busted Ghost instantly turned into a stream of ghost energy. She was directly attached to Luis's arm. The next second, a pattern in the shape of the letter M suddenly appeared on his left arm. Different from Broken Ghost, the Specter contract will form a specific pattern on the host's body. It only requires a light tap of the hand to summon. After completing all this, Luis grinned crookedly. Now he has signed 2 spirits. There is still 1 contract upper limit added by the system. At this time, Busted Ghost angrily roared inside him. "You fraud, let me out." Louis said shamelessly. You stay in my body. You don't need to wander around, he said, as he gestured to his chest. This way you don't have to worry about having a big chest. Louis then opened the attribute panel of the busted ghost. The loyalty stat surprised him. It seems like the plan is to rescue the busted ghost from this hospital and make her feel a bit favorable towards me. Louis took a look at the existing defense breaking points, which should be enough to activate busted ghost's skill. He carefully studied the exchange conditions. The Specter is divided into vengeful ghost, malevolent spirit, evil spirit, and malefic spirit, each with 3 levels: inferior, medium, and superior. Only one skill can be activated at the vengeful ghost level, while it is only at the evil spirit level that 2 skills can be activated. After reading the introduction, Louis decisively activated a skill for the busted ghost. Exchange successful. She gains the skill, the Deathly Chant. Skill uses the sound of the chant to disrupt the minds of enemies, causing a mass stun effect. When the enemy's health is below 5%, a direct kill is possible. Louis' eyes lit up when he saw this skill. What a great group control and execute skill. Although blood domain illusion can make the opponent lose their ability to act. But the Deathly Chant is even more awesome. It not only disturbs the mind but also has a deadly effect. It's simply a divine technique. Thinking here, Louis immediately had the next step of his plan. He now has control over skill. Next, he needs to find a high-damage assassin or warrior. At this moment, the hospital's announcement rang out. All exam students, please take note. There is 1 more hour until midnight. The accommodation and meals at the academy are determined by the number of contracts. Students with 1 or more contracts can stay in the ICU ward. Students with only 1 contract can only stay in the general ward. Students without contracts have no residential rights. Residential rights can be exchanged or given as a gift. Malevolent spirit-level specters will appear at night. It can be very stimulating for students without residential rights. After listening to the broadcast, Louis smirked. He directly led the blood-eyed ghost and busted ghost towards the ward. At that moment, Lily and others were gathered in front of the ICU ward. She sighed as she looked at the high-end facilities inside. I only contracted with 1 ghost, so I can only stay in the general ward, she lamented. Beside her, Zion pointed across with a smirk. Look at that short-haired girl. She didn't contract any ghosts. She's probably crying because she has nowhere to stay. Just then a voice said, Excuse me. And when they saw it was Louise, Zion immediately became aggressive. Now we also contracted a ghost. If you dare to act arrogantly towards Lily again, I'll destroy you in minutes, he warned. Louise chuckled lightly upon hearing that. With your short legs, you might not even catch up to me in a fight. You are all talk. If you hadn't picked up the contract and found the broken ghost, you would have died in the corridor tonight. And Lily also became odd and weird. It's disgusting. To think that she has to live in the general ward with such a person. However, Louis said, I am not living with you guys. As soon as these words were spoken, a short-haired girl in the distance waved her hand and asked, Brother, are you giving up your residential rights in the general ward? I can exchange my most precious thing for it. Louis responded impatiently. Can't you keep that precious thing for your husband? Besides, I want to live in the ICU ward. Lily sneered after hearing this. Your upper limit is only 0.5. At most you can pick up 1 broken ghost with the contract, while the condition for living in the ICU is having more than 1 contract. But Louis reached out and pushed Zion and Lily aside. Think whatever you want. Move out of my way, blocking my path. He then placed his hand on the detection screen as he spoke. Accompanied by the system prompt of passing, Louis directly walked through Ward's barrier. Lily and Zion were stunned by this scene. He must have cheated. His contract upper limit is only 0.5. The school's records could not have been wrong. Lily is getting angrier as she speaks. Get out of here. I'm going to report you. However, in the ICU, Louis looked somewhat surprised at the hot pot on the table. No need to think. This must have been specially prepared by the Security Bureau exam team. And without waiting, Louis started eating directly. It's truly everything you could ask for. Then he picked up a piece of stinky tofu and put it into his mouth. This taste is even better than the hot pot restaurants outside. Come in quickly and have a taste. After he said that, he pretended to suddenly realize something. Right. It's a pity that you don't have ICU residential rights. To avenge his bitter hatred, Louis deliberately picked up a piece of fatty beef and started eating it. Sure enough, his move directly made the people outside infuriated to the point of explosion. Congratulations, host, on winning 100 defense breaking points. Lily, who has been pampered since childhood, can't stand this anger. So she pointed at Louis and said in a commanding tone, "Listen, how about this? I'll give you $50,000 to switch ward with me. I've already eaten. Do I have to throw it up and put it on a plate for you?" Seeing Louis trying to talk his way out, Lily warned, "My father is a high-ranking official in the Security Bureau. You'll have consequences if you mess with me." And Zion chimed in as well. "Louis, are you trying to die? How dare you offend Lily?" Seeing Zion, a simp, standing up for Lily, Louis put down his chopsticks, indicating he was willing to switch. "I will consider switching with you as long as you slap Zion." Lily finished listening and looked at Zion next to her. "You should suffer a little. I will compensate you well after you leave." Although feeling a bit insulted, but thinking that Lily owes him a favor, Zion gritted his teeth and extended his face. "Then you can hit me." With a loud smack, a big slap landed directly on Zion's face. Congratulations to host for obtaining 20 defense breaking points. However, Louis shook his head, indicating that he had poor hearing and couldn't hear the sound. His reaction angered Zion, who burst out cursing. "Louis, don't bully people too much." With a loud smack, Lily slapped Zion hard across the face. She exerted so much force that she almost broke Zion's glasses. "Are you satisfied now? Hurry up and roll out from there." Louis shook his head again to indicate refusal. Lily was so angry that she almost ground her teeth to pieces. "I said I would consider if you slapped him," she said. "But I've considered and it's still a no." After saying that, Louis turned around and continued to barbecue the meat. Lily, realizing she was being fooled, stomped her feet in anger. With the words, "Just wait and see," she walked towards General Ward. Zion, who was slapped, was filled with hatred in his eyes. Daring to offend Lily's family. "You kid, just wait to die." Congratulations to host for winning 100 defense breaking points. Louis chuckled when he heard the prompt. Lily really broke through the strong defense this time. It was quickly past 11 o'clock in the evening. With all the lights out, the corridor instantly became pitch black, very thrilling. At that moment, a short-haired girl was pleading with a man, saying, "Kenneth, please don't go. Can you bear to see a girl like me sleeping in the corridor?" Meanwhile, Louis, who had nothing better to do having eaten his fill, simply perked up his ears to eavesdrop. Outside, Kenneth held the hand of the short-haired girl and comforted her, saying, "Don't worry. If you're attacked, just call out to me. I'll come out immediately to rescue you." The short-haired girl then launched a soulful inquiry, asking, "Do you really love me? Are your vows still valid?" The short-haired girl then threw herself into Kenneth's arms, saying, "Will you transfer the residential rights to me? Your contract is made with a ghost. The survival rate is highest sleeping in the corridor. Even if you get attacked by ghosts, I will kneel down and beg Lily and the others to save you." After saying that, the short-haired girl gave Kenneth a kiss, which made Kenneth agree immediately. However, when they escorted the short-haired girl into the general ward, a crimson mist suddenly floated behind Kenneth. At this moment, Louis is sleeping soundly in the ICU. Listening to his snoring, Lily was shaking with anger in the general ward. On the sidelines, Zion took the opportunity to add fuel to the fire. "I see that Louis is deliberately not switching wards with you, because he wants you to embarrass yourself." Sure enough, Lily became even angrier after hearing this. "When I go out, I will definitely make sure that Louise will not be able to get by in the river province. She said it, and then looked disdainfully at the bed. How can one sleep with all this blood stasis on it? Zion took off his coat as if he understood her thoughts. He respectfully said, Use my clothes to cover the bed. It will be a bit cleaner that way. Lily, upon seeing this, smiled in satisfaction. She praised, saying, You are the most considerate. However, Kenneth gave the residential rights to his girlfriend. He was squatting in the corridor, hoping time would pass quickly. Just then, the black mist in the corridor gradually thickened. Listening carefully, one could hear the eerie laughter of a specter coming from inside. Kenneth suddenly became highly nervous. His eyes were fixed in front of him in terror. The next second, a malevolent ghost, 2 meters tall, emerged from the black mist carrying a chainsaw. When the chainsaw ghost caught a whiff of the scent of flesh on Kenneth, it excitedly made a slurping sound. He was looking at a malevolent spirit-level specter in front of him. Kenneth took a few steps back in despair. Although he had successfully contracted a ghost, an inferior and vengeful ghost whose skills were not activated, Kenneth quickly retreated to the entrance of the general ward. It seemed that he had to take a risk. Next, he pressed his finger on the pattern on his arm and summoned. The axe ghost emerged along with ghostly energy continuously emanating. A ghost holding a broken axe stood beside him. It was still the middle of the night, disrupting people's sleep. The axe ghost, awakened from a good dream, was somewhat unhappy. But when he turned his head and saw the chainsaw ghost, he was completely stunned. You stinky kid. Do you think I can beat him? You can only try your best. If you don't try, you're as good as dead. Kenneth finished speaking, and with a thought, directly controlled the axe ghost to chop at the thigh of the chainsaw ghost. Soon, General Ward's men were awakened by the commotion outside. The scene before them frightened them so much that they dared not even breathe. At this moment, the yellow-haired man looked back in confusion. Is that your boyfriend? Didn't you say earlier that if something happened, you would go save him? He had just finished speaking when the short-haired girl directly covered her head tightly with a blanket. It has nothing to do with me. I don't know him. This scene made Lily and the other two show looks of contempt. Is this what love looks like? At this time, Luis was also woken up by the sounds of battle. He put on his coat and went straight to the door of ward. Let me take a look. Is this chainsaw ghost worth my contract? The axe ghost was quickly stepped on by the opponent, accompanied by the sound of chainsaw buzzing. The next second, the arm of axe ghost was cut off alive, and chainsaw ghost eagerly opened its mouth wide, putting the arm directly into its mouth and started chewing. But after just a few bites, it was discarded aside. Ghost flesh is not tasty. After saying that, chainsaw ghost swung the chainsaw in his hand. It directly cut off the head of axe ghost. Luis's eyes lit up when he saw this scene. Axe ghost was actually killed instantly. It seems that this chainsaw ghost is very powerful. Not only does it have high health points, but its damage is also very high. Luis started to calculate. Both the blood-eyed ghost and busted ghost in my contract are control types now. What I lack now are tank and damage. It would be perfect if I could contract them. At this time, chainsaw ghost is eliminating axe ghost. It is immediately attracted by the aroma of human flesh. So it lifted the chainsaw and quickly walked towards Kenneth. Although killing the contracted ghost would be severely damaging, Kenneth still endured the pain and shouted for Amara to quickly save him. Little did they know, inside the ward, Amara was so scared that she was shivering under the blanket, repeatedly saying that she didn't know him and it had nothing to do with her. Luis glanced at her coldly and said, "Woman, your name is Ruthless." Outside the ward, Kenneth had already crumbled, with tears of love betrayal flowing from the corners of his eyes. At that moment, the chainsaw ghost swung the chainsaw towards Kenneth, and Kenneth instantly became resolute. He dodged the chainsaw ghost's attack directly. Then he suddenly exerted force with both legs, intending to break out during the opponent's attack window. Unexpectedly, the chainsaw ghost quickly lifted its knee and ruthlessly hit Kenneth's lower body. The intense pain caused him to spit out a mouthful of blood. Then he fiercely crashed into the wall behind him. At this point, Kenneth was already too weak to resist. He could only let Chainsaw make a buzzing sound on his body. After a burst of flesh and blood, Chainsaw Ghost picked up the arm that Kenneth had dropped. He directly put it in his mouth and feasted on it. At that moment, his gaze fell on Kenneth's thigh. The meat there was obviously more abundant and more delicious. Chainsaw Ghost then threw away the arm he had gnawed on, raised the chainsaw, and cut towards the plump thigh. Seeing this, Kenneth reached into his pocket and took out the teleportation talisman. After barely dodging the attack from the Chainsaw Ghost, he found that the quality of the teleportation talisman was surprisingly good. He couldn't tear it apart no matter how hard he tried with just one hand. At this time, Luis in the distance couldn't bear to watch anymore.
Idiot! Just bite it with your mouth, and it'll tear open easily.
Kenneth suddenly understood after listening. He took the opportunity right before the chainsaw was about to fall. Kenneth suddenly bit one end of the teleportation talisman. Immediately after, he twisted his neck. With a whoosh, Kenneth's body suddenly turned into a beam of light and disappeared. Accompanied by the hospital announcement that Kenneth was out, Chainsaw Ghost was furious and thunderous. "Where is my body?" Luis in the ICU made a funny face at it. The Chainsaw Ghost immediately roared,
"Give me back my flesh!"
Then it picked up the chainsaw and charged towards the ICU. "You little brat! I must chop you up today." Despite swinging the chainsaw frantically at the barrier, not even a single crack appeared. Seeing this scene, Luis suddenly had a bold idea. So he poured the leftover cumin and chili from the hot pot on his arm, then waved outside. "Want to eat, Chainsaw Ghost?" The delicious meat flavor combined with the taste of cumin. Chainsaw Ghost couldn't hold back at that moment. How could there be such a fragrant delicacy in the world? He only saw him getting closer and closer. With a loud bang, he hit the barrier directly. Seeing the situation, Luis grinned slyly. "It's such a pity. Even if I give it to you, you can't have it." This made Chainsaw Ghost angry again. Not only did the meat disappear when it was about to reach its mouth, but it was also mocked by despicable humans. It is simply too much. Unfortunately, Ward's barrier was modified by the Security Bureau. Despite Chainsaw Ghost's saw blades being rolled flat from chopping, it still couldn't cause any harm to the barrier. Congratulations to host for obtaining 60 defense breaking points. Soon, Chainsaw Ghost was driven to the brink by Luis, so he turned off Chainsaw and walked away crestfallen. This reaction made Luis a little panicked.
"Where will I earn points if you leave?"
He quickly activated the barrier through the inspection. "Idiot! Don't you want to eat meat anymore?" Chainsaw Ghost turned around and looked. He ran over eagerly, saliva dripping. Luis just chuckled. As soon as the other party arrived, he jumped back into the ward and infuriated the Chainsaw Ghost, who smashed the barrier with his head in anger. It then turned around dejectedly and left. Congratulations to host on winning 50 defense breaking points. The next second, Luis jumped out the barrier and said,
"You see, I have come out again."
The Chainsaw Ghost had to run over with a clatter.
"I have gone in again,"
he said. After a series of back and forth jumps, Chainsaw Ghost's mentality was completely tortured and exploded. This scene directly stunned Lily and the others.
"No way. Someone really isn't afraid of ghosts."
Meanwhile, Zion was thinking, what benefit could there be from provoking the Chainsaw Ghost? If the barrier disappeared by morning, he would be the first one to die. At this moment, the yellow-haired man suddenly cried out in astonishment.
"Quick, look! Luis is actually chasing after the ghost."